konnichiwa, and domo arigato to Audible. Head over to audibletrial.com/jumbled and get your free 30-day trial and a free audiobook. You know what? I think they might have something related to Godzilla in there somewhere. It's a guess. I haven't looked. But I would speculate there's probably something Godzilla related. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Jumbled, your favorite podcast about nothing. I'm Zach. Konnichiwa.
Wow, you know Japanese?
Konnichiwa.
Guys, I'm back. Johnny's back.
Johnny is back.
Oh, after a lovely, lovely vacation.
Yeah.
So, I have a question for you.
I've got an answer.
As an IT guy, how bad is it for your computer to never shut them down? Because I definitely came downstairs thinking I was going to have to reboot the podcast rig, and nope. It's just been sitting in sleep mode for a month.
Yeah. It's fine. You can typically just leave your computer on.
Oh, okay, good. Perfect.
Yeah.
Are you busy? I'm sorry. Is this a bad time to record this podcast?
No, my wife is sending me some
nudie nudes?
She's sending me some Snapchats, but it's not like the
good Snapchats.
It's not the goods. It's just my daughter today, and I don't know how people are going to feel about this. I might alienate some of our audience. You know what? If I do, then I do. Okay. So my daughter, recently the Boy Scouts of America have opened their doors and are allowing girl troops to exist. Separate from the boy troops. They're doing their own thing. And so this coming weekend, she's got they're doing a fundraiser where they're smoking a whole bunch of pork
that's
for
not
barbecue.
Where I thought this was going, but okay. Yeah, barbecue makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. And they're going to sell it, either sell a plate there or they're going to sell it, per pound. And so we printed out like 50 flyers.
50 flyers?
Yeah, and we were going door to door in the neighborhood surrounding the church where they are going to meet at. And we're handing out the flyers. And so my daughter walks up to this guy's house. I didn't get a good look at the guy, but I'm pretty sure he was a senior citizen.
He was not happy, I'm guessing.
So she walked up. She's wearing her scout uniform, her tan shirt, her green shorts, whatever. She's wearing her little neckerchief thing. She's got on, a scout's hat and everything. She's all decked out, the whole 9 yards. She's very, very polite. Says, "Hey, this is what we're doing. We're trying to raise money." And he stops her mid sentence and he says, "Whoa, Boy Scouts of America?" And she said, "Yeah." And he said, "You should be in the Girl Scouts." And then he just closed the door on her.
Oh, wow.
Then he just closed the door, and my daughter is completely just deflated and disheartened. And so she turns around, and she's on the verge of tears.
Yeah, no kidding.
Coming back. I wanted to, yank the dude out of his house, obviously you can't do that. But, I explained to her that, that some people are just shitty people, and that she's deserving to, if she's just trying to better herself as a person, then I don't care what she's doing or what the label is around whatever it is.
So I have some thoughts on this. One, whether or not that dude believes in whatever's happening with the Scouts, doesn't matter. You don't take it out on a young kid.
Yeah, she's 11 years old.
Yeah. Two, I think it's weird that that Boy Scouts are still called Boy Scouts and then Girl Scouts. Why don't they just fucking call them Scouts?
I've thought that for a while, but maybe
that would cause less confusion. And then two, so I'm coming this from all kinds of angles. What is the what is the big difference? What was the big difference between Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts?
So
it was like brownies or something. Beavers. What were they?
So there are different levels to Girl Scouts, just like there are different levels for Boy Scouts. But basically, the difference between the two of them is it all has to do with leadership, right? So the leadership in the Girl Scouts of America is primarily female.
Mm-hmm.
The leadership in Boy Scouts is primarily male. So you get, or at least traditionally it has been, not necessarily so much anymore. I'm guessing either of them, but
they just fucking call it the Scouts, and then
no
one can.
I agree. I'm sure there are some reasons. My wife could probably get on here and give you about 40 different reasons why they couldn't do it.
Because there's a bunch of old ass fucking guys who are like, I don't want to give up my Boy Scout title. Get over yourself.
Well, that's the thing, though. Like the Boy Scouts, I think, have taken the first step. I could be wrong. There could be male inclusion in Girl Scouts, but I have not seen that before.
So Girl Scouts is still a thing.
It's still a thing. I mean,
and are they different curriculums?
Yeah. So basically, is
Girl Scouts like arts and craft, and then
basically it's like arts and crafts hour, and then they do like they sell cookies.
You know what they should call them? Soft Scouts and Hard Scouts. That's
the Soft Scouts and the Hard Scouts. Yeah, and then you just let whoever join.
Yeah, you figure it out on your own.
But then you belittle them. You say, "Oh, you're going to be in the Soft Scouts."
Yeah, and you say, yeah, and I can do some serious fucking origami. You see this origami patch I got? You ain't got that shit, hard-ass Scout.
That's true.
Dude, I shit you not. This is kind of funny. Good segue. Especially with the origami. Oh, God, I'm just a genius. So, Allie and I were in Kyoto.
Which has the same letters as Tokyo, by the way, which I think is awesome.
Yeah. And there is an arts and crafts university there.
There's an arts and crafts university in Kyoto.
Yeah. We walked by it, and Alice said, I missed my calling. I want to go back to school. And I said, great. We'll be poor forever.
Now, dude, you know what? It's all going to work out for you, because if you've ever watched any kind of like House Hunter show.
That's true.
They're always like
part-time preschool teacher and
like apple
aspiring
picker.
Musician. Budget $1 million.
I pick apples part time.
Yeah.
And
while studying philosophy.
Yes. Yep. No, you're gonna be fine, dude. You are gonna be fine.
Well, you know.
So tell me all about Japan. How? So we talked in the text thread about your transition to Sailor Moon.
Yep.
How did that go?
Well, so Japan was awesome. I learned a lot, saw a lot, did a lot. It took me about 8 hours before I cut my forehead on a door. It's not it's not a John-sized country.
No, yeah, I would not assume so. What yours? 6'2"?
6'3".
6'3". Yeah.
Wait, way to forget my height, Zach.
Oh, like I remember, dude. You're like comparable in height. 6'2" and 6'3" are pretty close. Well, I'm an inch off, dude.
Yeah, you should be better.
Okay, fair.
I expect more from you.
I'm sorry. I'll never forget again now. That's the upside.
Good. Yeah, exactly. That's why I made this a point. I'm going to test you every week.
Okay.
But it's not a very John-sized friendly country, that's for sure. So it took a little bit of getting used to just always walking around hunched, like everywhere, just always hunched over.
But when you got out in the open, I'm sure you stretched out so you could be head and
even
shoulders above
outside,
everybody. Head and shoulders above everyone.
Dude, it's fucking dangerous to be my height. So everyone there carries umbrellas because it's prone to rain. It's the rainy season.
Okay.
It starts raining. Everyone opens up their goddamn umbrellas. You know, like the spikes on the ends of the umbrella. Those are all my eyeball height. So we're like trying to walk around, and I'm constantly like dodging daggers in my eyeballs.
And there's so many people.
It's a bunch of Japanese people like do 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 do. Like,
Well, and they walk fast? I heard they walk fast.
They do
everywhere.
walk fast. Everyone's pretty fast and organized. I would say it's a very busy country, especially Tokyo, but everyone is very polite. Everyone gets in a line. No, everyone's quiet. That's probably the thing I love the most about it. You go on the train, no one fucking talks. Everyone just sits there and reads, or they're on their phone, or they're listening to music. Some people watch movies, which I was maybe part of a weird involuntary three-way again.
Oh yeah? And this time it was in Japan, dude. It must have been kinky as fuck, dude.
This one is definitely a stretch, but so I was on the train.
Okay.
It was about rush hour.
Okay.
And I don't know, he's probably like 40-year-old dude in a suit gets on the train, and we all kind of like get squished together, and he's kind of just in front of me to my right a little bit, like at my 2 o'clock. Yeah. And there's like someone's shoulder barely in between us. And he pulls out his phone, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. And I'm like looking around, looking at where we are, so I make sure I get off at the right stop, blah, blah, blah. And then I see that he's watching a video, and I saw skin.
Okay.
On the phone. So naturally, I'm like, oh, okay, what's this? I'll be honest. I watched a lot of guys play Dragon Ball Z video games while on the train in rush hour, and I was like, this looks pretty cool. Yeah. So I just kind of like side eye over, and this dude is watching a fetish video of this giant white woman in a G-string and like tiny ass bikini, big fake tits, like smothering and abusing a tiny Asian dude. So like a very specific type. And he's just watching this in a public place. Headphones on. She's like smacking him in the face with her tits and like smacking him with her hands and like stepping on him.
Some
and, like,
BDSM stuff for sure. Yeah,
like slamming her ass into him and like suffocating him. And
I mean, that sounds like the dream, but that's a really weird thing to watch in public.
Yeah, you know, like sure, on your own time, crank one out. Go for it. I mean, I'm not saying I didn't think about it later. I'm just saying like you don't. I know it's a long train ride and you're tired and whatever, but. And maybe, I mean, everyone there is so busy. That's one thing I would say that I'm glad I wasn't born Japanese or in Japan, because the work, all they do is fucking work. Yeah. It's incredible. Yeah. Like they work such long hours and they have long commutes. Like we did a Japanese cooking class and the lady that put it on was Japanese, and we were talking about work-life balance, and she kind of laughed at like, that's a major issue for Japan. And she said that a lot of husbands like don't know how to cook. Like that's one of the main reasons why they get a wife, is they don't know how to cook, but a lot of them don't need to cook because they either get married or they're always eating at work. So they just like, there's this culture of you work late, so you get dinner, and then you work later, and then you stay out until 11 p.m. drinking with your coworkers, and you go home and you go to bed, and then you wake up and you go to work and you do it all again. So like your wife is just there for like occasional sex and make you dinners. So, and like they just work nonstop. It's really weird. It took me a while to get used to just seeing people sleeping fucking everywhere. Yeah. Like sleeping standing up, sleeping on the train. Kind of get that. But we'd go for dinner and you'd see a dude in a business suit. It'd be like 8 p.m. and he'd be passed out on the table with his bowl of like ramen just sitting next to him. No, like it's just completely normal.
Yeah, I'm tired right now. I have a pretty decent work-life balance, you know, like... Yeah. I'm already tired. Like, I can't even imagine just, like, work.
It's fucking insane, man. I don't know how they do it.
Do they have regulations for work?
I don't. It doesn't seem like it. I don't know. I have no fucking clue. But, like, I will say it's nice. The cities are well organized. Public transit is great. It's really clean. They don't have garbage cans. Really? Yeah, there's rarely garbage cans in public places. You basically carry all your garbage yourself. So you'll see like a person with an umbrella and like a little plastic baggie carrying their garbage.
I like it.
And then you see a garbage can and you shove it in there somewhere, or you take it home.
Be responsible.
Yeah, littering is like a no-no there.
Well, so, yeah.
But yeah, Japan was awesome. Tokyo was incredible. Super busy. We saw a lot of the city. Saw some weird things, as you would, different culture. There's this weird love for like young girls there, which was weird. Like really weirded me out.
Yeah.
So like the first 5 days we were in Tokyo and we stayed in Shinjuku, which is kind of like the bar nightlife district.
You just made up that word, but keep going.
Shinjuku? No, I did not. Look it up. Goddamn Americans. So it's also where the Yakuza are a lot, which was kind of cool. I was always kind of aware, but then I started seeing signs about like Yakuza police force public action where they're like work together to stop crime. I guess crime that isn't done by the Yakuza. So like, I guess from like talking to people and reading on the internet, it's basically like the Yakuza and the police work together because they kind of have a working relationship where the Yakuza don't cross certain lines and the police don't bother them, and then they don't want trouble in their areas, so they like help the police if there's especially like crimes from foreigners. So if you're, you know, a dickhead American walking around and trying to pick fights, then the Yakuza are going to handle it or bring you to the police. But if you're just chilling there doing your own thing and being respectful, like they don't care, like they don't want anyone to cause trouble in their areas. So
right,
which is pretty cool, you know, pretty sweet. Interesting though to see signs that they work together. So you would see like Japanese dudes who look pretty gangster, like chilling, talking to cops, and just sorting something out, and then they'd go off and
God, that's weird, dude.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. But then there's like a bunch of like air quotes massage parlors or like bars that are pre-stocked with girls, and a lot of them are like high school aged or they're made to look high school aged.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just this weird subculture where I felt so disgusting.
Yeah, you got me with the massage parlor, and then you said made to look like they're school aged, and nope, sign me out.
Yeah, it just I'm not attracted to the baby doll look.
No, I don't even like the schoolgirl uniform. You know, I don't even. It just does not do it.
Yeah, I agree. There's nothing that attractive to me with that situation at all. Mm-hmm. But it works for them. That's their thing, you know? So it's not uncommon to see Japanese dudes walking around like in a business suit or walking into these things or walking out real fucking happy. Like
Japanese businessmen, dude. They're
but all also old white dudes. There's a lot of old white dudes walking around Shinjuku with escorts, basically. Like young kids. Well, I say kids. Young kids to me is like still like between 15 and 18. I couldn't even like even now at 31.7 I could not imagine dating someone who was 21.
Right. That's too. No, I think at that point, yes, obviously legal. Like
legal, sure, but weird.
But
weird.
I think it's just like a maturity versus life experience where you're like, I've just seen too much shit at this point. Like I've experienced life way more than you have. I don't really feel like having to lead somebody else through that completely. I agree. You know, like, and also just thinking like when I legally turned 18, this person was still a child. Like that's
weird to think about.
Yeah, it's really strange, you know.
Yeah, some people are into that though, you know. Went to a couple of bathhouses, which were pretty cool. Yeah. We went to one which was in like the northern part of the main island. There was still like 1.5 meters of snow. Yeah.
Did you get your shit jerked sideways?
Get my shirt jerked?
No, your shit jerked sideways, man.
What does that even mean?
Your cock, dude. Somebody jerk you off while you're getting.
No, not in the bathhouse. No. they're segregated. One.
Oh, okay.
So it was kind of funny. So the first one we went to, so tattoos are illegal. Well, it's illegal to get tattoos in Japan.
Really?
And most of the people, basically most people in Japan or Japanese people who have them are Yakuza. So at these bathhouses, because you're in a big bathtub with a bunch of other dudes basically naked, right? They don't allow tattoos. So when Al was planning this trip, because I have like a lot of tattoos, she would always call ahead and say, hey, like, we're from Canada, we're coming, my husband has a lot of tattoos, like, can he use the facilities? And the first one we went to, they were like, yeah, that's okay. He's not Yakuza, right? Ha 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 ha. Like a fake, like, ha ha. If you are, please don't kill me. And I was like, no, he's okay. So then we showed up, and I was wearing a long sleeve jacket because it was cold, because there was like still snow around. And we were chatting, and then Al just like confirmed, like, hey, like, John's still okay to use. And they're like, oh yeah, you have the tattoos. He kind of like looked me up and down. He's like, are you Yakuza? And I was like, no. He's like, are you some kind of weird Canadian mob? I was like, no. He's like, okay, yeah, you're cool. Just, it's all good. I was like, all right, sweet. The other one that we went to, they originally said I was only allowed to use it after 11 p.m. But then when they met me and they saw what my tattoos were, they were like, oh, it's okay. It's pretty dark in there, so no one will really notice. And I was like, okay. I didn't use that one though. We were just also like really busy.
Sure.
And I just, I wanted just a shower sometimes. Like the bathhouse experience was super relaxing. Sure. I enjoyed it. I'm not afraid to be naked in front of other dudes. So like that part doesn't bother me.
I recall.
I will say
we roomed together, John.
I will say it's like, it is a little weird to sit in a bathtub. And when I say tub, it's like bigger than a hot tub, right? So
sure, yeah, but you were right next to the other guys.
There are other people, yeah.
You went skiing.
Oh yeah, I skied so hard. It was a race, and I won. Gold medals, baby.
Yeah, man.
I mean, the Olympics are going to Japan, and I got the first medal. In the summer ski event.
Yeah, in the form of a pearl necklace.
Oh, yeah.
Way to go, dude.
So the part that is kind of weird is, so there's like the sitting bath, which everyone goes in, you just kind of wait in, you just chill there. Yeah. But before you get into that, there's kind of like a big trough basin with buckets. And you're supposed to like rinse yourself off and wash yourself before you get into the main bath, which I get. Sure. You don't want to be sitting in a pool of other people's filth, right?
Right.
So you kind of just like squat there with your nutsack hanging down at your, like, on the floor, basically. And then you're dumping buckets of water on yourself and trying to scrub soap off and all this shit while your junk is just sweeping the floor.
And I'm sure all the guys were just fucking mesmerized.
So, that part was a little bit like, all right, well, we're just going to go with it. Everyone does it. But, and then it was funny because we started talking to that owner. He gave us actually a ride. We were going to take the bus to a hike. And then he's like, oh, well, I got to go to town. I'll just drive you. And then he was talking about Canada and tourists and our flights. And we said we came through Shanghai. And he's like, oh, what'd you think of that? It's like, I would never want to visit China. It's like too crazy there. Like, people are too... It's a dog eat dog world, and right. I get it. Like, there's 2+ billion people there,
right? And
you need to do what you have to survive, basically.
Yeah.
So when we flew through Shanghai, people were butting lines, like nudging you to get out of the way, rushing to the front. Like, it was fucking anarchy. I just don't like that. I don't like I'm just not down with that. Japan, super busy. Everyone organized, polite, stands in line for everything, waits their turn. I liked it. But he was talking about Chinese tourists and how there's like a lot of new money in China. So there's a lot of people who come from poor families who aren't used to the luxuries of Japan. So they have a lot of issues with Chinese tourists coming in and like washing their dirty clothes in the public bath and like leaving trash everywhere and just not following Japanese customs.
Right.
So it was kind of interesting to hear their dislike for Chinese tourists in Japan. It was kind of funky.
I mean, that makes sense. Everything you're saying is, it seems like there's just a lot of organization in Japanese culture, and it's just inherently disorganized when you have so many people.
I'll tell you what, Tokyo, I mean, busy. There's obviously a lot of white people there too, but not as touristy as Kyoto. Kyoto, we saw like a lot more white people. And you can tell who the Americans are when you're traveling.
They're the fat ones.
Y'all are fat and fucking loud.
Hey, dude. Hey.
And very vocal. Like,
hey.
I heard so many people complaining about, why are there no fucking trash cans in this city? What am I supposed to do with my trash? It's like, well, you know, put a little brain power to that one, Einstein. You fucking carry it with you. Like, it's common sense, man. And, like, taking off your shoes. So that you take off your shoes in Japan, which I know is not always a normal thing to do in the U.S., which fucking is disgusting.
Yeah, I wear shoes in bed, actually.
Well, yeah, I've seen it. But, yeah, so, like, in Japan, when you enter a house, you take your shoes off and you put on slippers or wabaki. And
are those the little wooden shoes?
Some of them are sometimes they're wooden, sometimes they're just like little slippers. And then you always point your shoes out the door. So like when you go to leave, you can just slide your feet in and go, right?
Oh, okay, it makes sense.
But that Americans really struggle with that. The other part that I think a lot of people found funny, whereas in bathrooms, you have bathroom slippers. So, which, you know what? I was thinking about it. It's kind of weird because you would walk into a bathroom and then if it was like at the Ryokan, for example, it was a public bathroom. So there were just, you know, little rooms with toilets in them. So you'd open the door and there'd be little slippers there that you'd put on. Then you'd close the door. You'd do your business. You'd come out and you leave the slippers behind. So you're like, well, a lot of people wear these slippers. But then you're like, well, it's a bathroom floor, and if people stand to pee or splatter, and we all know fecal matter gets everywhere, it makes sense to not track that everywhere you go, especially in a culture where you sit on the floor, you sleep on the floor a lot.
Yeah.
Right? So I could kind of get behind that. It was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Wearing little slippers all the time. It was nice.
I like it. I can get with it. I you know what? I'm not a big slipper guy in general, but I do tend to follow that rule of taking my shoes off.
Oh, that's good.
So I don't know.
Savage.
I don't know how many other Americans are just walking around in people's houses with shoes on. But you know, I just know how filthy my kids, you know, can be, and I don't want to. So I'm just like, yeah, I don't want people's shit to get all fucked up. So
Yep.
So what else happened? Did you see a Pikachu fucking a Yoshi or something like that? Or was there
strangely enough, we did buy a stuffed Pikachu and a stuffed Yoshi. We went to sumo wrestling, which was really cool.
Nice.
I missed my calling. That's for sure.
Yeah.
They live in stables. They get paid a shit ton of money. They get banging bitches all the time, even though they're giant dudes.
That's what I've heard about sumo wrestlers. They're almost like, I mean, they're athletes, you know. Anyway, but it's like comparable to, you know, what you'd have like a big time boxer or something like that. You know,
they make some of them make like $100,000 and some $1,000 a month.
Shoof.
So
pretty good for pushing a dude around.
Yeah,
know?
I always kind of wondered too. Like the technique is very similar to like an NFL lineman, and I always kind of wondered like how would an NFL lineman compare? And like there are some leg sweeps that they do and some like arm locks, but honestly, most of the time it was just like push, and like try and shuffle your weight and throw them off. And I was like, there were a lot of times where I was like, you could just swim move this fucker and he would be done. Right?
Yeah.
But it was pretty cool to watch. And then we learned about like the different rankings. So like Yokozuna is the best of the best. And when a Yokozuna loses, people go fucking insane. And the matches aren't weight classed. So we saw a couple where, you know, one guy would have like 200 pounds on another dude and they would have to fight. And sometimes the little guy wins and it's awesome. Like they just use speed and a different technique. But yeah, if a Yokozuna loses, the people on like the floor level seating are all sitting on mats or like little pillows. The tradition is to throw your seat into the ring in like protest.
You know, with Johnny's recent trip to Japan, I got to thinking I should really talk about an Audible audiobook that centers around Japanese culture, and what better to talk about in reference to that than Godzilla. That's right, the movie just came out. Haven't had a chance to see that yet, but they have the official movie novelization for Godzilla, King of the Monsters on Audible. It's by Greg Keyes. It's narrated by Michael Braun. It's 8 hours and 59 minutes long, and it's got a pristine 5-star rating right now. So go take advantage of that. I love Godzilla. I hope you love Godzilla. And Tip, friend of the podcast, Larry Hill, 2-time guest of this podcast, huge Godzilla fan. Yeah, he had all the movies. He had, just Godzilla, standard Godzilla. And then he had like Godzilla versus Mothra and all that stuff. I think there was even like a mini, like a small Godzilla or something like that. Larry, you could help me out with that probably. Anyway, head over to audibletrial.com/jumbled and take advantage of that audiobook, Godzilla King of the Monsters, the official movie novelization. But hey, if that doesn't tickle your fancy, feel free to choose from one of the 180,000 other titles on their website. They've got everything you could ever want in an audiobook, and we hope that you guys enjoy. But hey, we love you.
So when we were there, the Yokozuna won. I was happy, but also kind of bummed because I wanted to see it. But then the next day, Allie and I were eating sushi in this tiny little hole-in-the-wall sushi place, and they had the matches on, and the Yokozuna lost, and the stadium erupted. Like 15,000 people went crazy, and a few thousand people who were sitting floor level all just started tossing cushions at this dude.
They're angry?
Yeah.
Is there a lot of betting on?
Yeah, a lot of betting, but it's like if you get to that level, you're not supposed to lose. And then so we did it through a tour guide, which was cool because they give you some of the history, and they were talking about how like there was a rising star Japanese sumo guy, and he was just crushing it, and he got title of Yokozuna, and then he lost 3 matches in a row and he retired.
No
like,
shit.
Just like dishonored, and basically like as if it was 500 years ago or 1,000 years ago, the expectation would be that he would commit suicide.
Wow.
So like he retired in shame, basically saying like, I don't regret my career. I regret my performance and letting you guys down. I don't deserve to be here. I'm retiring. So like they take it really fucking seriously. It's pretty cool.
I think it's. I mean, I understand the the thought behind it, but everybody loses at some point, right? Like there's always going to be somebody else that's better than you at something. Yeah, I don't think you should have to be exiled necessarily.
But it's more than a sport, right? Like it's a religious ceremony. Like there's a lot of culture and history behind it. It's not just like a professional sport. There's a lot of spirituality linked to it, I should say. So it's kind of cool. And then the sheet we got had like all the sumo's nicknames. So there's one guy who was called the Nicolas Cage of sumo. I was like, what a fucking nickname. But we were too far up to see why. Like I was like, why? He was white. He was from Bulgaria, right? So we're like, classic. Okay. He's just like a white dude. So they call him Nicolas Cage because Nicolas Cage is big in Asia because of the stupid movies he makes.
Yeah. And then I was getting ready to ask if he was a national treasure, but seeing as how he's a white dude, I'm gonna assume not.
So then when we watched it on TV, it zoomed into his face, and he looks like Nicolas Cage as wearing a fat suit. It was fucking amazing. Like, oh well, I answered that question,
dude. Can you imagine Nick Cage sumo wrestling? How hilarious would that be?
So what else did we do? We did a bunch of hikes, climbed a couple mountains, saw a bunch of temples. I went on the Great Sandi pilgrimage.
The Great Sandi pilgrimage.
Yep. So it was probably the second night we were in Japan. So 7-Elevens are big there. and they have incredible food. Like they deep fry stuff. They have fried chicken and these awesome pork buns and pizza buns, and like you can get ramen bowls, noodle bowls, like a restaurant stuff. Like really, like honestly cheap, but pretty fucking good. You can get like chicken breasts and like bacon and like all kinds of shit that's already cooked. You can just eat salads, you name it, it's there. They have this awesome sandwich selection of like cold sandwiches, and they have something that's kind of weirded me out a little bit. They would have like a bakery rack that's not refrigerated, and it'd be all kinds of pastries, but then it'd be like hot dog or like chicken katsu sandwich, not refrigerated. I was like, all right, this seems a little bold. So one night, I couldn't sleep because I, jet lagged and I was all fucked up. So I walked down to 7-Eleven. I'm like, I'm going to get a snack and just like stuff my face, and that'll put me to sleep. So I'm like grabbing some sandwiches, looking at like, oh, this weird chicken katsu thing. And then there's this weird room temperature hot dog. And then I saw it said cheese and blueberry. And I was like, well, I like to experiment a little bit. I'm brave. So I get this cheese and blueberry sandwich. I eat everything else. I save this for last. It's actually cream cheese and like a blueberry jam. And their bread is so fluffy. Like, I don't like bread, but their bread is just, oh my God. Yeah. So I eat this sandwich and immediately fall in love. And it was the only one there. I was like, I need this again. So for the rest of the time in Tokyo, I went back to the same 7-Eleven. Every 7-Eleven we saw, if they have like every other 7-Eleven like store that they have, I went looking for these goddamn sandwiches. Could not find them. And then we go to take the train up to that Ryokan up north, and we're in like middle of nowhere Japan, tiny ass train station, go into this little convenience store, and they have a similar version that's strawberry. So I ate 3 of those fuckers, being like, okay, I know what I'm looking for now. I got this down. These are amazing. They're like $1 each.
Dude, yeah.
And it's two sandwiches, like 4 pieces of bread, each have like their own little sandwich. Crust is cut off. Just fucking stuff them in your face hole and be happy. So I ate those. The next 2 weeks, I could not find either of those sandwiches. I found the peanut butter version, which I love peanut butter. It wasn't quite as good. I grew to like it as much, and I probably miss it the most now.
Yeah.
It was like peanut butter and cream cheese. Fantastic. I could get those everywhere, but I could not find the fruit and cream cheese ones. Dude, and I was fucking devastated. It was the Great Sandi pilgrimage. I dragged Allie around every fucking city we went to, every convenience store that we saw looking for these sandwiches. Then when we're flying home, we're in our terminal, and there's like a micro 7-Eleven that's this tiny little hallway that's maybe 25 feet, and there's just shit everywhere on both sides. You just pick it up, and you get funneled into the till, and then you're out.
Right.
And I come around the corner, and I'm like, fuck, they're not here. So I grab some, weird like puffs pastries that have amazing cream filling. I was pretty happy. And then I round the corner, out of the side of my eyes, I just see the blueberry sandwich. And my face lights up, and I dump out my cart. I'm like, fuck all these bullshit pastries that are just, they're not what I want. And I go around, and there's 5 sandwiches there.
You took them all.
I took 2, and I'm standing there, and Al's like, okay, let's go. And I was like, and then I took 3. She's like, John, seriously, like, come on, let's go. 3 is like, you're getting crazy. And then I was like, and then I took the 4th one, and there's a dude standing next to me, and he looks at me, and then he grabs the other one. I was like, no. So I had 8 sandwiches, because each pack is a pack of 2, to eat on the flight home.
I just imagine, like, on your pilgrimage, like, there's all this great stuff happening around you, and you're just focused on, like, where's the next 7-Eleven? You're just like looking for the next 7-Eleven in the middle of like historic Kyoto. You're like, where's the goddamn 7-Eleven? And you're like grabbing Japanese people, and you're like shaking them by their fucking collars,
Yeah. So that kind of happened, but didn't quite happen. So I gained 10 pounds.
Way to go.
On this vacation. I was budgeting 20, but we were hiking, probably 10 to 15 plus miles a day.
Right.
So I probably, managed to burn off the other 10 while walking. I ate so much fucking food. I had 2 breakfasts, I had 2 lunches, and I had 2 dinners, and I had an evening snack every day.
Wow.
And so like I would get up, I drink so much iced coffee too because it's so cheap and you can get it in 500 milliliter bottles there.
Oh, dude.
So I would drink like a liter of coffee in the morning and then have 4 sandwiches.
That's a lot of coffee, man.
I was pounding coffees and eating sandwiches, and then we would find this tiny like hole in the wall restaurant, and he'd be like, Allie'd be like, I want this. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm eating this too. Like, I don't care. I'm fucking eating everything.
Yeah.
I did not turn down a single opportunity to eat.
So now you got to get back into jiu-jitsu mode, huh?
Yeah, I'm a fat plug. I had a moment today where I was rolling with my instructor, and we were doing flow rolls and like doing some problem solving, and he was like bending me up funny, and I like looked down and I saw a little roll pop out from under my rash guard. And I was like, oh, I feel so dirty. I'm hideous.
Like, blame Japan. Blame the motherland.
Goddamn Japan. But yeah, I'm getting back into shape. I did train jiu-jitsu while I was in Japan, which was probably one of the highlights for me. Ali made took a funny Instagram video, and it was me training with a professional guy down there, and Ali's caption was the real reason why John came to Japan, and it was him like just dominating me. She's like, great, awesome. Go on our honeymoon and you just roll around with big sweaty men. Like, yeah,
that's what it's all about.
Yeah, so I had a few sessions with one of the top guys in the world right now, which was an incredible experience, awesome learning experience. Picked up some cool stuff, and he might come visit me in Canada. So I said, you're welcome to come stay at my house, show you the mountains. You can train at my gym. We'll set something up. So he's hoping, he's got to compete he's got a tournament in LA in September, and then he was talking about if he's already out this far that he would come up north for a few days. So I was like, just let me know.
There you go. Get him on the podcast.
Oh, that could be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could make that happen. He's a pretty awesome dude. Interesting story. He's from Ghana, and he's been living in Tokyo for the last 12 years. He's 24, 25, younger guy. Incredible fighter, like so fast. I thought I understood speed until I started rolling with him, and I was just like, it is clear that he is in his prime, and my prime is past.
Right.
Like even skill set aside, like his skill is way better, but just reaction time and his speed and his strength, I was just like, fuck.
Yeah.
It's a whole nother world. So.
Well, sorry you got dominated, but that had to be a pretty cool experience.
I mean, I paid to get dominated, so it was expected.
Yeah, you're like, dominate me.
But you know what? I surprised him a few times. I landed a couple takedowns and threatened, had a couple of good attacks. So he was overall, he said he was pretty impressed. So it was all in all, it was an awesome experience. Yeah.
Well, great, man.
So if you ever got your passport, I'd highly recommend Japan. But we know you gotta.
Is it you don't have to share exactly, but is it a pricey trip?
It's not a cheap part of Asia. You can do it cheaper than what we did, for sure. We stayed at some pretty nice places, as we've talked about before. My wife is a princess.
Sure.
But she earns it, so that's how she likes to treat herself, so I respect that. You can do some hostels and be cheaper. And, like, breakfast, if we were eating kind of local places, not touristy restaurants,
right,
we could do breakfast or even 7-Eleven breakfast, which is still good food for, $10 American. And then lunches, you're looking at, 20 to 30 for the pair of us, depending on what you're doing. And dinners, you could do, probably more like 30. It really depends what you want. You want ramen? If you love ramen, you can, like, ramen's a junk food there.
Yeah.
You can do ramen there for, $10 a bowl and be pretty full, honestly.
Yeah.
So like you can do it cheap. You can eat at some fancy. Like we did a couple 9-course meals, like traditional Japanese meals that were, more expensive. We also ate at McDonald's a few times.
How was that? Did they have any crazy menu items that you've never seen before?
I had it before when I flew through Tokyo on my way to Japan, or on my way to Thailand. But so they had fried chicken, which was really good. They had like these teriyaki burgers, which was really good. A fillet of fish, but instead of fish, it was shrimp. That was good.
Okay.
And then they had like a couple different burgers, like with just different sauces. What I will say stood out was their bacon was like thick cut, big, healthy pieces of bacon, not that like cardboard micro strips that you get in North America. So
sure,
it was pretty fucking tasty. French fries were great. What I did appreciate was that they weren't like snot-nosed kids working there. I mean, they were younger people. I placed a pretty significant order, as I normally do when I go to McDonald's, as you know. And my first thought was like, these fuckers are like just thinking any McDonald's, they're going to fuck up my order and I'm going to be pissed. I'm going to walk back to our condo. I'm going to open my bag and stuff's going to be missing. And then I was watching them and they print out the receipt. Like they give you a receipt and then they print out your order and then they put it on a clipboard next to like the stations where the food comes out. And then they physically check off item by item as they put it into the bag. And then they give you that receipt like with your bags to show like everything is in here. And
that's awesome.
I was like, you know what? Fuck yeah.
100%, dude.
Good job, McDonald's.
We were running out of time. So after the whole scouting debacle thing, it was pushing 7:40 or something like that. Kids' bedtimes at 8:30. So I was like, fuck, I ran out of time. They haven't eaten dinner yet. It's like, all right, let's just go pick up some McDonald's. So I went and picked up McDonald's, and I asked for, just for example, everything but the honey mustard, which I specifically asked for honey mustard because the kids were like, yeah, we want honey mustard. I was like, okay. So I asked for a couple things of honey mustard, and I was like, yeah, please make sure that's in there. And then we pulled away.
No honey mustard.
Sure as shit, it's not in there.
Classic.
So,
just
classic,
fucking classic.
Classic McDonald's, dude. But I mean, I do like that, the idea of checking things off a lot.
It's obviously a little slower. What I will say too is McDonald's there is really fucking classy. Like they were like 2 stories, super clean. I went there one morning on my way to the gym. I was walking. And I stopped in to get a coffee and a sandwich. Ooh, they did have this really cool breakfast sandwich that was beef patties. It was like burgers and egg on a McMuffin. And they had this cool, spicy chipotle sauce on it. It's fucking delicious. But it was just filled with business dudes. Like everyone's in a suit or like, and the women were like all professionally dressed and they're all sitting quiet, like drinking their coffee, reading their paper or doing work on a laptop. Like completely different atmosphere. No play centers, nothing like that. I didn't see a single kid in any of the McDonald's I went into.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I don't think I've been in a McDonald's where there wasn't some screaming child.
Yeah.
Ever.
Honestly, I would say kids just in general in Japan don't scream. We went to Disney and it was mostly adults. There were some school-age kids, like young teenagers. And you'd see the odd family. Those kids perfectly quiet and respectful. If you heard a kid screaming, 9 times out of 10, it was a white kid. It was like some tourist kid like losing their shit. But yeah, Tokyo Disney was pretty sweet. That was cool. We got on a bunch of rides. It was, some of them were hard because all of the acting is in Japanese. So you're like, yeah. We did one that was Sinbad, and you sit on this boat and you go through like this river thing, and it's like all animatronic little things dancing and singing, but it's all in Japanese, so you don't know what the fuck the storyline is, but it looks cool. Yeah. Oh man, one of the highlights, the true highlights, we went to a baseball game.
Okay.
And we just knew that baseball's big there, and Ali's a big baseball fan, so we're like, let's go to a baseball game. We get tickets. So the stadium, I think, fits. It was like 15 or 20,000 people. It was a sold out game. It was two rival teams from Tokyo, and half of the fans, like a clear fucking line dividing the stadium in half of like home team fans and then away team fans, and there was no cross pollination at all.
Right.
Like at all. So we're chilling, like they're doing like the pregame thing, no national anthem before the game. They do like some singing and dancing and like introduce the players and shit. And then the first batter goes to get up. And it's the opposing we ended up sitting in the home team side. We didn't know, but we got tickets. Yeah. So the opposing team's batter goes up to bat at the top of the first inning. The other side of the stadium, everyone fucking stands up, and then you hear some dude yell something in Japanese, and then a band, like a brass band, starts playing, and all of the fucking opposing fans start singing the same song. And then the batter would change, and then you'd hear some dude screaming, and then they would all switch to the next song, and like they had chants for each of the players or each of the situations.
Wow.
So we were just like losing, and in like the home team side, quiet and sitting and watching.
Yeah.
Like perfectly quiet, like respectful. There's signs saying like no yelling, no booing, no like all this shit. And then the inning switches over. So the bottom of the inning, hometown team goes to bat. Exact same thing. Everyone fucking stands up, and then there's like a crowd guy in the crowd calling the chants, and then everyone just does it and like singing these long elaborate songs. They all have like those like thunder sticks, but they're like big kind of drumsticks, and they all are like doing the same like rhythm on the sticks. It's like coordinated, and it was so fucking fun. I got so into it. I was like chanting and like clapping and like dancing, and all the Japanese people fucking loved it because I was so big. And then a dude on the home team hits a home run, and they out of nowhere, everyone pulls out these mini fucking umbrellas. They're like, I don't know, 8 or 9 inch diameter, and pops them up, and they start doing this like synchronized umbrella dance where they're like opening and closing, but like synchronized in sections and singing this song. And I was like, what the fuck is happening? I fucking love this place.
Oh my god, dude. So where baseball is sort of dying out a little bit in North America, it seems to be thriving and
it's a fucking party in Japan. And we were joking, like, if Japanese people don't really travel until they retire because they just work so hard, but it's like if they were to go to a game in North America, they would be like, what the fuck is happening?
Right.
And like people are so committed, like showing up in business suits, like with their thunder sticks, and the food was awesome. You could get ramen, you could get dim sum, you could get sushi. They had like this giant trough of just random sausages that you could get. So we got that and like a French fry trough and like a bunch of drinks, and it was $15. Like it was so cheap.
Dude, there you go, man.
Yeah, we ordered so much shit, and like I ordered a burrito, this extra large sausage plate, and like an extra large fry plate, and like Ali got a beer and I got a soda or something, and it was $15.
Word, dude, that's awesome.
It's like if that was in Canada, it would have been like $50.
Yeah, you would have had to take out a second mortgage on your home.
Yeah, so baseball, I highly recommend it. If anyone goes to Japan, go see a baseball game. I fucking loved it.
Dude, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. It sounds like so counter to what I'm used to when I go to Royals game or something.
Honestly,
you know, like,
it was so weird because, like I said, everywhere else you go, people are quiet. They don't talk. They don't make eye contact. They, typically stay to themselves. Get them in a baseball game, and then this energy just fucking explodes out of these people of song and dance.
That's awesome.
I loved it.
That's awesome. So you said they didn't do a national anthem, but you forgot out. You left out the part where they sing a song about Ichiro Suzuki before every
you Wikipedia that? I'll tell you what.
No, that's the only Japanese player that I can call off the top of my head.
There are so many Yankees hats there.
Really?
It's just Yankee hats everywhere. And part of it is it's stylish, but the other part is because of Ichiro, and you see a lot of his shirts and like whatnot there, but Yankees are fucking huge there. Felt disgusting seeing all of them.
God, I hate it, dude. You can't escape the Yankees even like in the States, but then can you imagine just like a Mets fan? He's like, fuck it, I'm getting out of New York. I'm going to fucking Japan to watch a baseball game. And you go, and there's more Yankee hats.
Oh yeah, God, yeah. There's probably more Yankee. I saw more Yankee hats in Japan than I think I've ever did in the States.
That's nuts.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Just like a store that was just Yankees hats.
Yeah,
just Yankees hats.
That's it. They don't sell a single other thing.
Every different design you can think of, pattern, colors, all Yankees. It was pretty funny.
Yeah. That's wild, dude. Well, Johnny, I'm happy to have you back, dude.
It's good to be back, man. I'm sorry I yammered on so much this week, but next week we'll get back to regular programming.
You know what? This is back to regular programming because I was like in this streak of like, I was like, I don't have Joe can't come on. I don't want to fucking try to stammer on for 45 minutes to an hour of my own stuff. So I'm just like, 3 weeks in a row of jumbled rewind. That'll do,
Goodbye, audience.
Right. I just felt bad. So hopefully everybody's enjoyed this one. It's been, I said to you early, man, I've missed our chats. So I'm happy to see your face.
I missed you too, buddy.
Aww. I felt it through the internet.
Ooh, internet touches.
Yeah, man. At this point, Johnny, I'm not gonna lie, I'm starting to feel a little tired and I need to edit this thing. So we're at 55 minutes.
Yeah, wrap it up, buddy. I was gonna say you look beat.
Let's wrap this bitch up. Thanks for swinging back by, everybody. Hope you guys enjoyed this very Japanese heavy episode. This one goes out to all our Japanese fans because
we are big in Japan.
We are big in Japan, and Johnny was literally big in Japan.
My head has the dings to prove it.
Yep, and some umbrella stabbings and all that. If you guys want to follow us on social media, it's at Jumbled Podcast everywhere you can find us. Send emails to jumbledpodcast@gmail.com or johnny.jumbled@gmail.com. Head over to audibletrial.com/jumbled and get your free 30-day trial and a free audiobook. While you're at it, go over to the Patreon page and pledge $500, get us an address. You can keep listening wherever you are, but if you could, please head over to iTunes, leave us a rating and review. Here pretty soon, I'm going to be submitting our RSS feed to Pandora Radio. Ooh. I recently found out that they do podcasts now too. I didn't know about that, so I'll get us on there and just hopefully have another section of the audience that comes in from Pandora. But yeah, we hope you guys enjoyed this one. It was sure fun for me, and Johnny is welcome back. So much because I felt really bad, dude. I just couldn't do the solos. I'd done it before and was like, I just don't have the energy for it.
Hey man, it's all good. It happens. You know what? Yeah. Sometimes you just need a little break, Like we've said it's before, true. We're two working family dudes. We got a busy schedule. Despite what people may think, we're not getting rich off this podcast. We're putting out free content. We do our best. Yeah. We appreciate you guys, and sometimes we just need you to be patient with us.
Yeah, I'm definitely in the red with this podcast stuff. I'm nowhere near black. I'm nowhere near.
So if you want to sponsor us, let us know.
Absolutely.
Zach will get your company tattooed on his forehead for the right price.
Or on my dick.
Ooh, dick tattoos. We'll get into that next time with Lacey.
Oh, yeah. That sounds great. Something to look forward to, guys. We'll see you guys next week for another episode of Jumbled, your favorite podcast
about exploring and the Great Sandi Pilgrimage.
We'll see you guys later.